So, session 9 of 10. We're getting close to the end now. And for that, we have Suzana Bulearca, Managing Director at PBSL Group, the UK's leading independent specialist supplier of construction and building supplies. Again, somebody else that we had here last year on a panel who's come back this year to give us a talk and let us go a little bit deeper on what they're achieving. Suzana's been working in the digital industry for over 15 years, both agency and client side, setting up and leading dynamic teams that straddle the entire marketing proposition. You know, she's somebody who can talk about product, price, place, promotion, data, and technology. And I think you're going to get a talk today that touches on quite a bit of that, with a session on insights and personalisation. Please put your hands together for Suzana.
Hello. Thank you for sticking with the last few presentations of the day. I know it's been quite a long day for you guys. So hopefully I'm going to make it brief and dynamic. And also it's about data, so some people might be very engaged like me, and some people might be like, what? But anyway, so yeah, PBSL Group. Today, I'll be talking to you about our tech and data-centric journey to achieve personalization and relevancy, as it says on the tin, but basically business growth. So first of all, just a quick thing on who is PBSL Group. So yeah, we're the independent group supplying specialist building materials to both trade and DIYers across the UK. So we have 5 branches branded as professional building supplies, and then we have 9 websites. Basically, our mission is to source top quality products at competitive prices, offering high customer service standards, expert advice at all stages of a project. And whilst we constantly keep adding to our product portfolio, and therefore this is why we have all the brands that we have here and more to come, the idea is to hold deep stock of specialist products that can fulfill the niche requirements of our audience. So basically, in the construction industry, not the sexiest of industries, and I know various bodies that govern us are trying to make it a bit more enticing. But we do face our challenges. So I think everyone, you know, kind of thinks the construction industry is kind of high-tech with planning and all sorts of technology going on for, you know, design and building. But unfortunately, it sometimes feels a bit like this. So there's a few challenges that we have faced, and we still are. So the industry has traditionally been very slow to pick up on new trends and embrace technology, both from a merchant and a customer side. There is a large and complex audience that we are talking to. So we're going from the from the BIYer, which is, you know, build, buy based on what the builder is telling you to buy. You kind of don't really know what you're doing, you're just buying off a list. Then there's the DIYer who kind of knows a few bits and pieces, but not really all the specifics of the industry. Then there's small trade, who, you know, your general builder, building jobs, not yet au fait with the latest construction trends and regulations, and really they're too time poor to care. Then you've got the specialist trades, who will challenge you on the technicalities and the quality of the product, and always require more and more niche products and interesting things to deliver for their customers. And then you have the large developers who will challenge you on price and will put incredible amount of pressure on your operations and logistics. So basically a wide variety, all with different needs, and I know all the talks today have been about customer insights and how to better understand your customers. And it's difficult when you have loads of them and when they're so varied. And also, because they're so varied, they all have their various interactions with us, right? So they don't really care if internally we're up to scratch to serve them. They just want to fulfill their projects. And they don't really care because ultimately there's always someone else prepared to do things cheaper, faster, and maybe even better. And for us, particularly in the industry, COVID has brought a massive change in that an industry that, as I've said, traditionally slow to pick up. Suddenly, technology has been the answer where everything was closed. So the physical stores were closed. People had to transact online. Big boys started entering our market with big budgets and starting playing with data and technology, and just increasingly started to put pressure on profitability, and especially for an independent like us. So how do we win? How do we compete in this sort of market? So basically, our answer to this has been data and being smart about it, right? We don't have huge budgets, and we have a lot of historical constraints, but at the same time, we've been forced to think more. So what we've done is we've tried to build a business architecture centered around data. And this data helps us understand our customer base better, which essentially helps us serve them better and more profitably, and in a way that is relevant to them. So yes, this presentation is about personalization and relevancy. I guess usually that means kind of, you see banners on the sites or, carousels and things like that for recommendations. But actually, personalization is much more. So we're talking here about how to affect the entire marketing mix to ensure you're relevant for your customers. So ensuring you give them the products they need, at the price they need, in the location they prefer, and with a message that they understand. So over here, you can see our technology stack, which is by far perfect. So as I said, there's loads of historical limitations. There's loads of budget constraints like any other business. There's limited implementation resource. So it's in a continuous evolution. But what we've done is we have built it around 3 key pillar systems. So Magento open source at the center of it, as you can see, then our ERP system, and then MAP Digital, which is our CDP and our email marketing platform. And then around these, we've essentially selected technologies that kind of work in a headless, composable sort of structure, and each have their own specialisms where we need it, or we've decided to build our own stuff if it was better. So the idea is that we are collecting as much data as we can about our customers from all the interactions they have with our business, be it online or in our branches. And then we're housing this data in a platform in a way that we can make it actionable, right? Because data without action is pretty much just a bunch of... We've created a data warehouse built around Magento, because Magento can then communicate with MAP, which is the platform that we use for activating this data. And essentially means we can collect it and pass it in a real-time way, and we can create a unified omni-channel view of our customer base. So these are all the various data sources, how they're utilized, and how they're utilized in various contexts. So the idea is that basically, as opposed to a spreadsheet, the beauty of data in an artificial intelligence sort of model is that it keeps being updated in real time. It's live, basically. It keeps learning. And over the lifetime of the business, a customer will have various interactions with that business. Hundreds of interactions, and will flow into various states of engagement. So they might be loyal now, then they might disengage for a while, they might even leave, maybe they come back a couple of years later. Also, the lines of engagement are blurred, and very much for a business like ours, that's a bricks and clicks sort of business. So someone might Go on the website, ring, place an order, then go in branch and collect it, then call in another branch and try to place another order for another location, then go online and check their transaction, then do a quote in an email. So there's all kinds of interactions. And then we also have a variety of other bits of information, like what trade type are they, what coupon codes did they use, what payment methods did they use, what types of projects do they have. So it kind of all starts to look a bit like this, a bit messy, but at the same time, there is a method in the madness. So how do we utilize this data? So essentially, we're going to start with the traditional, the marketing communication side of things. So in terms of email marketing, basically, as you can see, we have loads of dashboards and various types of reports that we have created in MAP. But essentially, in email marketing, the collation and analyzing of data has allowed us to answer important optimization questions, such as which creative message works better for which type of audience, or which campaign and what timing of the campaign has performed better for which audience groups, or what timings are best to send that, and for which audience group or product group. Then we're also utilizing this data for automation. So we have created quite a complex system of automated email and SMS journeys. So this is basically designed to bring a personalized message at scale and at the right time, depending on the customer segment. So we've built a load of complex automation flows. This actually is one of the simpler ones, to basically proactively manage customers along their journey with our business. And the end goal here is that we want them to keep being engaged with our brands or our portfolio of brands. And we want to keep them loyal, and we want to prevent churn. So we want to identify when that churn might happen before it actually happens and intervene, because that's really how we're going to be driving business profitably in the long term. And the messages are sometimes offers, sometimes we add personalized promotions, relevant guides and tips, relevant product information or new product developments, that sort of stuff. So our programs look at customer behavior and customer types, and they're implemented for both online and branch customers. So we collect data from across the board. And also these campaigns are supported by our sales and account management teams. So they know what sort of message we put out there. They continue with that message in the offline world, and vice versa. The information that they gather from customers over the phone or in-person meetings are fed back into the machine, as it were. And also through the analytics side of MAP AI, so the artificial intelligence side of things, basically we're managing to do what I just said before, is we don't just want to know and feed data about what has already happened. We want to also put in their predictions and signals and learnings that only really a machine can do at scale, so that we know what might happen and either prevent it if it's about churn, or encourage it if it's about loyalty and repeat purchase. And this really is at the foundation of our loyalty programs, which are in development at the moment. Now, we also collect a lot of data about products and customers. So because we have such a wide brand portfolio and product portfolio, it's important to try and understand important questions like correlations between products, or how do users interact with multiple brands, or how do users interact between our online brands and our offline brands. And what are the relationships across various product categories or product ranges? And what do we know with our industry experience versus what the data tells us? Because sometimes people and our customers will behave in ways that we haven't predicted, right? We want to sell a system in a certain way, and actually people decide to use our product in a completely different way, and that just brings us something new and interesting that we can then take on and develop upon. So, that data then is used for product recommendations. Now, the product recommendations, they happen, as I said, both on our websites, but also at our trade counter. So this is all about upselling, cross-selling, trying to make sure that we give the customers what they need for their project, even when they don't know fully what they require. Because most of our products are bought as a system, right? You're not usually going to change just an element of your guttering. You're usually going to change the entire gutter system on your house, which means you need all the important components to make the project work. Otherwise, you will have installation failures or you'll be missing important items. So our challenge online is to make sure that customers see all the products that they need for their project. And then our product page recommendations, we do a lot of A/B testing in them. We add a lot of our product knowledge. We add a lot of knowledge from our sales team and our trade counter. And then we essentially, the overall objective is they are satisfied, but also we improve our basket value and therefore our profitability. Now, so the biggest challenge is that we feed this data into our sales teams, and our sales team feed data to us to feed the model. But from an online perspective, we really need to try and build this face-to-face relationship that we can't really have online. You know, there's no one on the website sitting there and going to every single customer asking them about their different requirements. So basically, this technology is allowing us to kind of replicate that sort of relationship and intervene with product recommendations at the time of need for that particular customer and in that particular context to prevent them from going into disengaged states or to upsell and cross-sell. Now, we also use the same product data to improve our search experience online. So again, when you go to the trade counter, you can just ask someone, okay, right, I have this project and I need this particular thing, or maybe you don't really know what you need. So you just go there and, I don't know, in one of our branches, someone might say, yeah, I need a bolt for my project. Well, I don't know what I need, I don't know what size, what type, what anything. So then there's an advisor there that takes you through all the questions and tries to find what you actually need. Whereas again, online has an issue in that it can't really do that for every customer. So then the on-site search experience becomes very important to make sure that the queries, we understand that the queries that customers put in, however generic they may be, they're channeled in the right way to the product categories or to the articles that are relevant for them. So these are just examples of the implementation. So yeah, the search query might surface products, articles, categories, and then obviously we have various abilities to control that. Now, so outside of email and product recommendations and search, we utilize this data also to understand the role of various communication channels and to plan our communication strategy. So, questions that can now be fairly easily answered. around which of our channels are better for acquisitions and which are better for retention, and how do we reward them appropriately to drive business growth and not cannibalization. What products are bought from which channel and which campaign? Do particular customer segments have an affiliation with a particular channel? What's the profitability per channel and overall? And are any particular channels, for example, more responsive to coupon codes than others? Then we also collect data to reduce friction points. So friction points can come from various things. Obviously, we've talked about search. That's a potential friction point where you can't find what you need. But also, there might be issues with the UX, the user journey design. There might be issue with the technology used. There might be issues with the code, because obviously Magento is a complex beast, as we know, and there's always things going on and things to improve. So essentially, we have invested in technology that then feeds into the same central source to try and understand where these friction points happen, right? Because ultimately, what these friction points mean is people come on the site, they can't find what they need, or they become frustrated, they can't check out, so then they leave. So that means we've spent money to acquire them, and we've lost them, and potentially they're not coming back again, which is very bad in the long run. So through utilizing this data, we've made other decisions around payment platforms, for example. So that was important for us to understand, okay, what sort of payment methods do our customers in particular want? Because there are certain things that people in the building industry prefer, and depending if they're on site and they're on their mobile phones and they just quickly want to order something. Then trying to create, again, this seamless experience between online and our stores. That's always our biggest challenge. Whatever we offer in one channel, we need to offer in the other channel, because ultimately our customers interact with our entire brand. Then security options and credit opportunities. So our industry buys a lot on credit, and that's the standard in branches. Again, that's not usually the standard online, but that's something that, you know, the same customer who is a tradee might want to transact with us online and might expect the same service and the same credit terms as they are in their local branch. And then security as well, particularly since COVID, we've had quite a few attempts for fraud and things like that, which, again, investing in a good payment gateway technology has helped us ensure we minimize the losses from there. And then we've also had crucial decisions. This has also influenced crucial decisions about our front end and UX and UI. So what we're doing at the moment, and some of you might recognize, is we're investing heavily in redesigning Magento in a headless system, in a headless structure, using Hoover actually, to deliver a fast and modern user experience. And then we've utilized this data for more than just marketing communication. So there's implications for the wider business context. So for example, we've refined our tracking and are passing more data so that now we can optimize our search activity better, both paid and organic. Then the customer segmentation and recency, frequency, monetary value models are now fed in our sales and account management team. They inform our price lists and pricing structure. They also inform our procurement strategy, so new products that we should bring to the market based on customer feedback and customer interaction with various ranges. Then location analysis is informing our branch expansion strategies, so where the pockets of profitability are and where we should invest to open a new branch. And then also the overall efficiency and profitability of data. has given us the mental and monetary space to look into even more software that can, kind of feed this virtuous circle of data and the PBSL machine. So, yeah, as we've been, just a quick note to end, we've been talking a lot about data and we've been talking about tech. However, I think the key thing here is also to remember about people. So in the last couple of years, I've dealt with a lot of change in our company, implementing digital transformation and cultural transformation and process and strategy. But really, it is about people. And I personally love tech and data. But without people to interpret and apply this data creatively to the wider business context, it literally can be just a bunch of nonsense with a high price tag. So getting people invested in this journey, I think, is crucial, because ultimately people buy from people. So if you want to achieve sustainable business growth, then the key thing is, pick the right technology, but also make sure that you get your team on board and get them invested and get them to actually love the data and tech that you've invested in. Thank you.